Have you ever sat in a room full of people, everyone laughing, everyone talking, and you just watched? Not because you had nothing to say, not because you were afraid, but because something inside you said, "This isn't the right place." If that feeling sounds familiar, this video is going to explain something about you that most people never understood. Here's what psychology actually says about quiet people. And it's going to change the way you see silence forever. Most people assume that someone who doesn't talk much is either shy, boring, or thinks they're better than everyone else. But research in social psychology reveals something completely different. Quiet people don't have a talking problem. They have a trust filter. Their brain is constantly, and often unconsciously, asking one question before they open their mouth. Is this worth my energy? And if the answer is no, they go silent. Not out of weakness, out of awareness. Think about this. You probably know someone who barely says a word in a group setting, but the moment you're alone with them, they won't stop talking. That's not inconsistency. That's context. Psychology calls it selective communication. And it's one of the most emotionally intelligent things a human being can do. Because they're not performing for a room. They're saving themselves for the moments that actually matter. There's another layer to this that most people miss entirely. Past experience. A lot of quiet people weren't always quiet. At some point, they spoke up and got interrupted. They shared something real and got laughed at. They tried to connect and got dismissed. So slowly, without even realizing it, they stopped offering their voice to spaces that didn't deserve it. And that decision? That's not damage, that's wisdom. But here's the part that hits hardest. Because quiet people rarely explain themselves, the world fills in the blanks, and almost always gets it wrong. They get labeled cold, arrogant, antisocial. And instead of correcting everyone, they let the assumption sit. Because they have already learned something that takes most people decades to figure out. Not everyone's opinion of you is your responsibility. The other thing that makes quiet people deeply different is how they experience silence. For most people, silence is uncomfortable, something to be filled, escaped, or fixed. But for quiet people, silence isn't empty, it's honest. They measure connection not by how much was said, but by how real it felt. And when they do choose to speak, it means something. They've already processed it, already decided it's worth saying. That's why when a quiet person finally talks, people listen. So the next time someone tells you you don't talk much, understand what they're actually saying. They're seeing you in a space where you haven't found your people yet, where the energy doesn't match yours, where comfort hasn't been earned. Because the truth is, you're not quiet everywhere. You're just protecting the version of yourself that only comes out when it's safe to be real. And honestly, that's not a flaw. That's a standard.